Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here, and welcome back to some more Eternal gameplay. This time we're going to be running a Rakano plate deck, which is an aggro deck. Nothing really out of the ordinary about the deck list that I'm running here. It's pretty stock, no super techie innovations or anything. Basically get your opponent dead just as fast as you can. We're running 3 Finest Hours, 1 cost fast spell, give a unit +3/+3 this turn. For Oni Ronin, a 2/1 for 1 with Warcry. 2 Protect, a 1 cost fast spell, give a unit or player Aegis. 4 Torch, 1 cost fast spell, deal 3 damage. 4 Champion of Glory, a 2 cost 1/1, however it's hardly ever a 1/1. As you can see down there at the bottom, for 2 Fire Faction we get +2 attack and quick draw, and for 2 Justice we get +2 health and endurance. For Rakano Outlaw, a 2/2 for 2 with Warcry and quick draw. For Vanquish, kill a unit with 4 attack or more for 2. 2 Cinder Yeti, 3 cost 3/2 with Overwhelm and Warp, so we can play it off the top of our deck, and the turn we summon it, we can exhaust an enemy unit. 3 Shogun Scepters, a 3 cost 2/1 weapon, and when we play it, we get to also play out a 2/1 Oni Ronin with Warcry, which are these right here. 4 Silverwing Familiars, a 3 cost 1/1 with Flying, Lifesteal, and Aegis. This is our target of choice for all of our equipment in this deck, if we can manage to pull that off, because it's incredibly hard to deal with, as they first have to pop the Aegis and then kill the creature. 2 Sword of Icaria, a 3 cost 3/2 relic weapon with Warcry. 4 Valkyrie Enforcer, a 3 cost 3/3 flyer that silences another unit when we play it. 4 Hammer of Might, 4 cost 3/3 weapon that when we summon it, the wielder gets Warcry 3 for that turn. And the namesake and Deepforged Plate, the namesake of the deck. 5 cost 5/5 weapon with Overwhelm and Endurance. The power base is 8 Fire Sigils, 6 Justice Sigils, 2 Emerald Monuments, which transmute into a Gem Blade after we reach 5 power, 4 Rakano Banner, 4 Seed of Glory, and 4 Diplomatic Seal. Pretty straightforward aggro deck build, so let's see if we can't aggro some folks out. Alright, this is a pretty decent hand. It's a little slow as we don't have an actual 1-drop, but I don't think we can throw it back. We have Rakano Outlaw into potentially Champion of Glory, just depending. And since we're not playing anything turn 1, we'll go ahead and play out this Emerald Monument. A lot of the times I like to hold on to those to prevent against flooding, so that we have a weapon to play on one of our units later. But it seems right to do it here, and as such, we are going to play out the Outlaw because we want to get our Warcry going. We could play out the Champion, and it would be a 3/3 next turn to attack, but I value the Warcry tremendously, so we will do that. Hopefully, this little girl here will survive. Ooh, a Crown of Possibilities deck. Well, we need to try to get them dead as quickly as possible. So let's get to attacking. I'm saving these to try to save our creatures here. We could have Finest Hour to deal a little bit more damage there, but I don't think that that is beneficial at present. So if they get to put an Echo card back, which I don't think they've drawn an Echo card yet, then that's when Second Sight's at its best. I think I'm going to go ahead and torch their face here. And that's a decent draw. We could play the Sword to get in an additional 3 this turn, but I think it's better if we just play out our Champion and hold up the Protect to save one of our units. And we will pass. We've got them down to 15, which has got us in pretty good shape, all things considered. That's a bit of a problem. However, Finest Hour helps us to deal with that. And so does Torch. Unfortunately, the Yeti cannot exhaust it, but it can pop the Aegis. We'll see if our opponent wants to block one of these. We can't really attack with the Outlaw, since the Finest Hour will not get it big enough to kill that. Alright, that is good. So quick draw here will mean that ours kills it, and it does nothing to us, even though it didn't have enough power to kill ours anyway. We don't have the power available to play the Cinder Yeti off the top, so it's just going to sit there, unfortunately. Playing another second sight. And we know for a fact we're not drawing a power next turn because we can see our top card. Would like to hit a 4th power. I'm not going to torch them here. I am just going to attack. Looks like they are going to take it, so we're within 1 power of killing them. I think I'm just going to play it safe and pass, leaving up Protect. We've also got the Torch available. A second Crown of Possibilities. A Dark Return. Sure. They can't really cast it. They don't have the power available. Oh, it had Destiny. Okay. Well, that is a little unfortunate, but I think it's still fine. Yeah, we've still got enough damage to get through and kill them. And that is the major advantage of playing a very aggressive deck on the ladder, is that you can get your opponent to 0 before they can actually establish the game plan that they are trying to go for. Alright, this is a little bit of a power-heavy hand, but I think that we can keep it. We've got a 1-drop, a 2-drop, and a really good weapon in hand, so... Also, we're on the play, which helps a lot. Alright, Initiate of the Sands for the opponent. I'm going to play out the Diplomatic Seal so that we can get our second Justice. And then I'm going to see if they're willing to trade their Initiate for our Oni Ronin. And they are. They want to prevent as much damage as possible, so we'll play out our Outlaw and pass. Alright, well they had a second Initiate, so didn't really hamper their power growth that much. We did draw a Scepter, which is excellent here, as it makes our Outlaw bigger and also advances our board state with more creatures. And see what they have in store for us here. If they play out a Sand Titan, then we'll probably have to put the Hammer of Might here. Otherwise, we will probably drop it on the Oni Ronin. And that looks like exactly what we're going to do. Spread out our damage. Get a nice Warcry of 4 for this turn, then it'll drop back down to 3. Probably trade both of these for this. Yeah, looks like exactly what's going to happen. And they still have 5 cards in hand, so if we don't draw some more action, we're probably going to be in a lot of trouble. There's a Sandstorm Titan, however we did draw a Vanquish, luckily, so we will kill that and continue to attack the opponent's face. Go ahead and play out that Diplomatic Seal. We've got all the faction that we need to play anything in the deck, so the fire doesn't really matter. Alright, 2, and they get to pump. So that's unfortunate for us. What's even more unfortunate is drawing this Rakano banner. I still think we need to make them trade one of these, because if they continue to draw powers, then these will get out of hand way too fast for us to overcome. We do need to stop drawing power cards here if we're going to have a chance of pulling this game out. Well, that's great, except we don't have a creature left to put it on, so unfortunately, we're just going to have to sit here and hope. Kind of makes me wish I hadn't attacked in with our Outlaw. However, we didn't know we were going to be drawing this, and as you can see, they would have had 2 5/5s now instead of just the one. So they don't care about drawing extra power cards because it just makes their Awakened Student that much bigger. Alright, Valkyrie Enforcer. And that, as they say, is the ball game. An honorable fight opponent. It's a little bit of an awkward hand. We don't have a third power for the Scepter. And it would make us play this Champion of Glory as a 1/1, so I think we need to ship it back. That's better. We've got Oni Ronin. We've got 2 Silverwing Familiars, which in a lot of ways are the bread and butter of this deck. That's the best target for any of our equipment to go on, usually. Alright, well, looks like our Oni Ronin is going to survive, especially now that we have power available to protect it if we need to. Could be playing a mirror match here, but no. Minotaur Grunt with Warcry. Well, we can't really suicide our Oni into that, so this turn is going to be just deploying Silverwing Familiar and passing back. Alright, Copperhall Bailiff. That will shrink this and pop the Aegis here. So they'll get their own Warcry going. We are not going to block. Another Ronin. Well, we'll start attacking with our Silverwing Familiar. We do still have our Protect available. However, this turn is going to be spent deploying 2 creatures, so we have no power available to use that. Unfortunately, their creatures are not big enough to make Vanquish come online, at least not yet. So killing the non-Aegis Silverwing Familiar there. Drawing a weapon here would be great, except they're also going to kill our Silverwing Familiar with their Sword of Icaria. So this seems to be a little bit more of a defensive Rakano build here. Trying to decide whether to attack with this or not. We are not going to block. And it looks like we're a little bit flooding out again. We're going to go ahead and try to get in there with the Oni Ronin. And they're going to let their Sword of Icaria go. Might ought to have attacked with both, as then for sure this one would have gotten through. Do they have another relic weapon available? No. Just getting their Warcry going? Okay. They could have drawn something humongous and be waiting till after combat to play it. Well, the Crimson Fire Maul at least gives us a target for our Vanquish. And I really want to stop drawing power now. You have a Protect? You do. That is unfortunate. So now we can't really afford to attack. And it looks like we are in bad shape. However, we can save this Oni Ronin. So do we take 7? I think we do. Alright, there's a Rakano Outlaw without any Warcry on it, and our drawing of all these power cards is probably the death of us. We really don't want 7 power in a game, especially this early. We'll just pass. 7, 8, 9, 10. Take us to 4. I guess we prevent 2 damage. Alright, and that is not going to do it. The opponent attacks, we can block 2 and we'll still take 6. So an honorable fight, sir or madam. Alright, let's hope to do a little bit better, though not with this hand. Plenty of equipment and removal, but nothing to actually start attacking the opponent with. This is somewhat better. Would really love to have had a Ronin in hand, but as there are only 4 of them in the deck, we can't guarantee that. Right, opponent showing Stone Scar colors, and it looks like they're one of 2 decks here. They are either a Brimstone Altar deck, or they're a Recurrence sort of deck. Both of those run Devour, and they tend to run these Slumbering Stones. Alright, that's a decent draw. However, we're now in the position of wanting to draw some more power. Luckily, even the gargoyles these things make are not really capable of dealing with our Outlaw. So, I think we're going to go ahead and attack. I do expect them to block with one of these, probably play a Devour and sacrifice it. Yep, there it is. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. This puts us in a good position now that we know which one is sacrificed, of being able to silence the other one so that it can't produce a gargoyle as well. And then next turn we have a lot of choices as to what we want to do. Deepforged plate is nice. We're still 2 power short of actually deploying it. I think that we'll just play out our Cinder Yeti and exhaust that gargoyle and then swing in. We had actually a little bit less choices than I thought we did. We don't have the faction to be able to play these Shogun Scepters actually, so kind of dictates our line of play there. Stone Shaker. Right, that's something you don't see often. The Seed of Glory helps. It doesn't really get us able to play this turn, but it gives us the faction to be able to play the Shogun Scepter. And as such, I think we'll play it on the Outlaw because of the quick draw, and then we're just going to swing out. If they double block or block with the Gargoyle and kill our Yeti, we don't really care. We still trample over for 1 damage. And then an undepleted power off the top gets Deepforged plate online, which is really good. So they're going to reanimate. So this is a reanimation deck. So they got back the one that is not silenced. They're going to sacrifice it to kill our Rakano Outlaw and get a gargoyle back. I imagine that's not actually the best target for them to reanimate. They've probably got things like Vara and other things going on in this deck. Go ahead and play our Sword of Icaria and kill this so that we can get through with these. I also could have played the Hammer of Might, but it's still available for next turn, and this also leaves us up a power to be able to use Protect to save one of our units. Alright, nothing from the opponent. Huh. So they've definitely got up enough to kill some of our things. Let's start out by attacking with our sword for 6 here. And we could try to go for the kill. Let's go ahead and Shogun Scepter there. That still leaves our Protect up. Like I said, we could have tried to go for the kill, but any removal spell would have prevented that and lost us a unit. So let's just end the turn, play it a little bit safe. Which seems kind of counterintuitive with an aggressive deck like this, I know, but always better to be safe than sorry. And I was going to say that should do it. And indeed it does. Alright, we'll try to get one more game in. This hand, again, is a little heavy on power, but I think that we keep it with this in hand. We may regret that if we continue to draw more power cards. Alright, Minotaur Oathkeeper. Interesting. Let's play out our first Oni Ronin. Very nice to top deck another one. Next turn we can play the second one if we don't draw something else that we want to do. We do want to make justice with this Diplomatic Seal. And this guy will become a 2/2 this turn because it's the only thing attacking. We do not want to block. This may be one of the mono justice sort of mid-range decks. I haven't seen a ton of those on ladder. Let's go ahead and make a justice and play out our second Oni Ronin and pass. Alright, Tinker Overseer. Nope, they have got Shadow in the deck. So maybe a newer version of the Argenport aggro / mid-range strategy? Do I want to trade these for these? That's the big question here. I think I'm fine with that, because we've got Silverwing Familiar into Hammer of Might as a follow-up. Alright, looks like they are also okay with making that trade. We did get Warcry out of those. If this is running some of the typical cards that Argenport rather, was running before the Bartholo nerf, then there should be some targets for our Vanquishes. Despite this being vulnerable now, I still think we're justified in suiting it up and swinging. Getting a Warcry 3 off. We've also got a very large Champion of Glory to play next turn. Still need one more Justice to get it up to a 6/6. Yep, there is Tevaron. Very good target for a Vanquish if ever there was one. Diplomatic Seal's a little late, so we're not going to be able to get a Justice out of it. However, we will deploy our Champion and swing in for 4 while gaining 4. Right, Valkyrie Enforcer silencing here? No, here. Okay. Taking it down to a 4/4 with no quick draw. Sword of Icaria was an excellent draw there. And they have had enough. Well, that was a little quicker than I expected it to be, so let's try to get one more game in, shall we? Okay, I think this is fine. It's kind of medium, but not really bad enough to be able to mulligan it. Looks like we are against Skycrag aggro, so primal and fire. We have enough power that I'm going to hold on to the Gem Blade. Let's go ahead and make a Justice here and then pass. Our other one will be a fire, and then we'll have all of the faction that we need. So getting hit for 1 and they're drawing a card. They may not be Skycrag. They may be mono-primal. Oh, this may be Yetis with one party starter in there. Let's go ahead and make a fire and play out our Rakano Outlaw. It's a 2/1 for 1 with Aegis, which is pretty good. One thing I do like about these Rakano decks, though we may not get an opportunity here as hard as they're beating us down, is that you can really blow an opponent out by playing a Deepforged plate on a thing that's been permafrosted, and it gets rid of the permafrost because endurance means they can't be permafrosted. Alright, Snow Chucker. Aw. So, unfortunately, I think we have to do this, even though we can't attack with that. That does give us an Oni Ronin. And I think we're going to take this. Yeah, I feel like that was the right decision there. Then we can Hammer of Might here. We're going to have to resign ourselves to taking 5 more damage because this thing does a damage when it attacks. I do want the War Cry to go off. Our Sword of Icaria should do a little bit of work starting next turn. There's Wump. So we're taking much more damage than I thought we were going to be. And maybe enough to put us in an unwinnable position. So we're going to have to leave our Ronin back to block, and we're going to have to kill Wump. At least that does shrink the opponent's army. If they have a way to deal with this, we're just dead, because they have 5 damage on board and we've got 4 health, plus an armor, and they have an exhaust thing. So they were playing fire as well, it's just they didn't hit the fire until much later in the game than normal. Yes, good game. Sorry. So busy talking, almost missed my opportunity to commend my opponent for the honorable fight. Here again is the deck list. A little bit different than what we've gone over the last 2 weeks. I felt like a change of pace from the control decks back into something a little bit more aggressive, something we can get a few more games in a session. I will also include the list in the description below so that you can import it by copy and paste into your client if you would like. Aggressive decks like this are generally good to grind the ladder because you can get a lot of games in a short amount of time. And it allows you to have a little bit worse of a win-loss ratio and still be able to climb equally as fast simply because you can grind out more games in the same amount of time. And if your playstyle is one that tends to lean a little bit towards the more aggressive type of decks, then this might be one that's right up your alley. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comments, and by leaving a like below, it really does help out tremendously. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.